Hey, what is going on, everybody? It is Friday, so you already know it's an episode of Millennial. Mel, what is going on, guys?
Never get this right
Yep.
every week.
What am I doing? Oh, I'm
You're
pointing.
pointing.
um, but hopefully you guys are having a great Friday. It is a beautiful day outside. I'm hoping winter is over. Right? Is it officially spring or something like that? Whatever. I just know
Not
it's
yet.
like
Yeah.
70 degrees outside or something like that. So I'm
It
really
is.
excited about that. But guys, we've been talking about this show for the last 2 weeks. We're excited. Today we're going to be sharing a lot of the things that we grew up with as millennials. And probably some stuff that a lot of people have forgotten about. And so it was funny because doing the research for this show, writing down some stuff, I forgot about some of these things. So,
I know. Me too.
So but before we get into all that, guys, if you're jumping on the live, comment who you are, where you're coming in from. We'd love to give you a shout out and drop in the comments below some of the things that you remember growing up with. But Mel, how are you doing? How is life? How is everything going on?
Everything's good. Yeah. Getting into a better routine, I think, here now that the events and things are picking back up. So pretty good. Yeah. Loving the weather. Got out, did some St. Patty's Day celebrations yesterday. I wasn't even going to because I have a charity breakfast that I do Saturdays, like say for St. Patty's Day. So I'm doing that on Saturday. But I was out for a meeting in downtown Hershey, and my friends were out, and of course I just had to meet them. So yeah, I'm loving the weather and ready to be outside, spending a lot of time walking around, and so I am pumped.
Yeah. I did nothing for St. Patrick's Day. I don't know.
Green beer.
Didn't have any beer. I didn't have any alcoholic beverage on St. Patty's Day. It's the first time in since I've been able to legally drink that I haven't had a drink on St. Patrick's Day. It just, I don't know, just didn't feel like doing it, and getting out there and stuff like that. So we're actually going to the beach this weekend. So I'll have a couple adult beverages.
You can get your dogfish head, your
yes,
your spots.
Actually, there is maybe I can do a quick live from there or something like that. But there is right down the street from our from my in-laws' beach house. They just opened a brewery / restaurant, and it's this big restaurant chain in Delaware. It's called Sodell Concepts, and they have a lot of other restaurants. So it's not like some rinky-dink one. This one's going to be good quality and stuff like that. So they're opening up. They opened up on St. Patrick's Day.
Okay, nice.
So be able to go get some of their beer, hopefully. But anyways, let's get to it.
I'm so excited.
Talk about some millennial things.
I'm still typing up some. Right? Now that it's, I tried to remember some things. I'm like, now I'm just going back, and I'm like, oh.
There's so much that happened. Like, it's so crazy to think about, because like I was doing research for this, right? And I'm thinking, early 2000s, right? That's when I was like a little bit older, right? Teenager, stuff like that. But you forget about the 90s, like all throughout the 90s. There's so much stuff.
It is a lot. I think I concentrated mostly on the 90s for sure. So it's funny.
I tried to do a little combination of both. But there's just so much that happened in our childhood, from events to, we could probably spend like 4 or 5 podcasts just like breaking down each segment of our, but this is kind of just an overview, right, of things that we remember.
Fun stuff.
I don't even know where to start.
I'll start. You start, but I'll start.
Yes, start, because you have something in the background that people will probably remember. I remember this.
My sister and I collected holiday Barbies. Okay. I still have about maybe 8 of them. And up in the guest room, there's these little closet thingies up on the top of the closet. So I actually have them in there lined up, but obviously the doors are shut, but I have them on display. And I probably had 30 of them. When I moved from Baltimore when I was like 13 or whatever, I sold. We had a yard sale, and I got rid of. It was like take the ones your favorite ones, but we also collected around the world Barbies. So I saved my top.
Dedication.
I saved my top 3, I think, of those, and then 5 or 6 of these. But yes, these were not to be played with. Not to be confused with all of my other Barbies. My Barbie dream house, my my little camper, and the Jeep.
I was gonna say the camper was. I mean, I didn't play with Barbies, but I remember, friends of mine and going over to like a friend's house, and their little sister had like. I remember the camper. Like I always remember that thing.
Yes. So I was very much obsessed with that, and Skipper was her like cousin or sister. I should know this, but
I mean, everybody remembers Ken, right? Ken, the Ken doll. So I always remember the pink car she had, right? Didn't she have some like pink, like Ferrari looking thing?
Yeah, the car. There was a Jeep. I think there was like a camper. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So much money wasted.
I know.
on that type of stuff. I mean, going right along the lines of collectibles, something I remember, I had a couple, but I wasn't as crazy about them. Obviously, we talked about Pogs before, and how I was obsessed with Pogs, but I remember Beanie Babies sweeping the entire world. Like it was nuts.
I have Beanie Babies here, and no lie, my mom was selling some, and the 2 that she kept were her favorite. She loves frogs, and her favorite color is green, loves frogs. So the 2 that she has, it's one of the original 8. There's original 4, and then there's original 8, and his name's like Legs, and he's the frog, and it's online right now for sale for $3,000 to $4,000. And then she has the other one as well. And it's so funny. We sold all them too. But what we do have is the McDonald's Beanie Babies, all in their packages, in the bags from McDonald's that you used to get with the handles. The bag itself looks so nostalgic because it was from when you would get breakfast and you would have like the bacon, the pancakes and sausage. Speaking of another memory. The styrofoam with the bacon and sausage and but they're in there, and I have them all. I have all of the my mom and her friends in their like mid 30s went out mid to late 30s, and we're going out in the middle of the nights to Walmart's. To McDonald's, and they were just as obsessed with them, than we were. And they probably had bags and bags and bags of Happy Meals.
Do you remember, speaking of McDonald's, because I think like McDonald's now is not the same when we were kids, right? Like when we were growing up, there was just something about something nostalgic about going to a McDonald's when you were a little kid. But do you remember, because McDonald's throughout, do they even do toys anymore? I don't even know. But anyways,
They're not like that though.
Yeah, but I remember, and I went to go look them up to see like if people collected them and stuff like that. But do you remember, like during Halloween, they had these buckets, and they each had like, one was a pumpkin, one was like a ghoul, one was a and I remember having those buckets, and like I think your Happy Meal came in those, right? And I mean, those were the things that like really, like I look back on and I'm like, man, kids just don't have it the same way that we had it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I would not know what comes in a Happy Meal probably for the last 15 years myself.
Do they even do Happy Meals anymore?
Because I just think that when I was like with my friends that had kids and got them, that they got something, but I don't think it would be as cool as a Beanie Baby in a pack. Like, I mean, no way.
I'm on McDonald's website right now, and I'm looking at the Happy Meals, right? First of all, the first thing that really irks me, listen, if you're going to McDonald's, health is probably not your number one concern going there, right? Especially for your kids, right? If you're taking your kids, like I'm thinking like, hey, they want a burger, fries, chicken nuggets, like let's get them so they be quiet, right? I'm looking at this thing and it's got apple slices and milk. Like, what in the heck? Like,
Yep, they started. I do kind of remember around the time, even when we were younger, that they started adding um, apple slices.
yeah. And so, like, I mean, we had fries, burger, fries,
Oh
whatever
my
you
God.
got,
Yep.
and just a soda, right? Like, that's what you got.
Yep.
And, um, you know, but that's crazy. But, anyways,
Typically
yeah, but
high C
yes,
orange.
yep, yep. I used to get that. I mean, I think really like when we were kids, like fast food was like really starting to get was like kind of new, not
Yep.
new, but really started to take off. Like I only ever remember going to McDonald's. I don't really remember going to any other fast food spot. If
Yeah.
yeah, you know what I mean?
That, other than, which I added to my list, Pizza Hut on Friday nights.
Oh,
I was so excited to go with my friends. So we played soccer together and grew up and were Girl Scouts, and my mom was the leader, and their moms were the assistant leaders, and and we just did a lot of stuff together on the weekends. And man, that all meeting up at Pizza Hut, and the little
yep.
buffet and the deep dish, and then the
That
Dr. Pepper with crushed ice.
the breadsticks. Pizza
Yep.
Hut had some good breadsticks. I remember
Yep.
their sauce and just the breadsticks. Sometimes I would just get. But I always going along with Pizza Hut. What was the thing that we used to? I know they still do it, but I remember you would like have to read a certain amount of
Book it.
books. Yes, there it is. Book it, and you would get rewards, and like one
Yep.
of the rewards was like pizza, like a free
Pizza.
pizza
I
from
know.
man.
Book it. Book it. Well, I had thought about Book It, and then I thought about the book fairs that you walked in and you were in heaven with all
Yes.
these books and the posters that you could get.
Yes.
Oh my God,
With
the book fair
certain
and the
points or something like
goosebumps.
that you get, yeah. That was one of mine, Goosebumps.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, but one thing I remember on Friday nights, I wanna go back to Friday nights
Hmm.
because I like, Friday nights, I remember growing up as a millennial kid, like, it would be Pizza Hut,
Yep.
and then we would go to Blockbuster.
Oh yeah. I saw
And go
Blockbuster too, but I had actually put down TGIF.
oh, are you talking about the restaurant, TGI?
No, the TV shows lineup, Full
Thank you.
House, Family
Yes.
Matters, and Step by Step. And then there was one after that was like scary. There was like, what was it? There
I
was
know what
like
you're
a,
talking about. I can't remember exactly what it
oh
was, but
shoot, there was
yeah.
one that came on late night and I would be like kind of scared to watch it.
Mhm.
So funny. But yes,
Yeah.
Blockbuster, we would
Yeah.
go and rent movies.
Back in the day, before there was Netflix and you could just download a video and just watch it, right? You
Oh
really ran
no.
the risk of going to to Blockbuster and the video that you were wanting to see not being there, right?
Oh my God, disappointing.
Yes. Yes, like
Oh,
all would like I remember like the new movie would come out, right? On video. It'd finally come out on VHS. And they would have like a whole wall dedicated to it. And it would be all the covers, right? So you'd
yep,
get so excited, you'd be like, oh my God, there they are. And you'd run up there and they would be all gone. And
yep,
you'd be like so, so devastated. But
yep,
yeah, Blockbuster was a big thing for us on Friday night. After
absolutely.
pizza, we would go to Blockbuster.
Yep, absolutely.
So, but
Mhm.
man, just thinking about all this stuff
I know.
is crazy.
It kind of makes me feel old.
No, it definitely does make me feel old. Brandon feels the same way. Brandon,
Oh,
what were some of your favorite things?
yeah, because I
Oh,
thought
he misses
I
Blockbuster
miss
too.
Blockbuster. I thought as going back to the shows, just because I thought I would just list, I started thinking about Saved by the Bell,
Mhm.
TRL, like Total Request Live. You would go and you'd watch the top music videos of the week, and
That's
then
where you could only watch music videos.
only
It
watch, and then you could do your favorite. I think there was like top 10 every week or something like that, or that was every day. Was it every day or every
it was
week?
every day, but on Fridays, they would release, the new
Yes.
music video from
TRL.
yes.
Saved by the Bell. I put Double Dare, so like the Nickelodeon, right? Or no, what was Double Dare?
No, Family Double Dare. Yeah, that was
Okay,
on. That was one
Family.
of mine. Was like game shows in general. Like I remember Family Double
Oh,
Dare. I
oh, Price
remember
is Right.
Legends of the Hidden Temple.
American Gladiators.
Yes. I don't know if you remember this one, but there was one called Global Guts, and it was a video. It was
Yeah.
like they jumped up a mountain or something like that.
Yeah.
But
What?
like, I mean, you look at shows these days, and it's like everything's educational, and like
Oh,
we got to
yeah.
be careful of what we say, and like, I mean, I remember growing up watching Ren and Stimpy. Like, if like that is now like
Yep.
Ren and
And The
Stimpy is on
Simpsons.
late night like MTV. Like
Yeah.
it's like buried because it was crazy
Yeah.
vulgar.
Well, yeah. I mean, The Simpsons even, was somewhat at times, but then obviously, and then like Family Guy had come out a lot later. But then what was the one? Oh my God, I'm even South Park that came out when we were like preteen, and that was
Yep.
bad. That was
Yep.
like and like not that we weren't allowed to watch it, but I know there was just like because they were cursing and all this, and but I put down Tom and Jerry and the Looney Tunes because I just remember those like old cartoon, like the older. And obviously they were a lot. They were reruns from. I feel like
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd have to look up when they were actually from, but I remember like watching Looney Tunes and Tom and Jerry and I don't know, like Sunday morning cartoons. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, and
Yeah, like
Animaniacs.
Roadrunner. Yeah, Animaniacs,
Ronan Brown, yeah,
Roadrunner. I remember, yeah, like one Saturday morning, you'd wake up and it would start at like 7 o'clock, right, or something like that, and it would go like all the way to noon, and it'd just be
yeah,
like cartoon after cartoon after
and just
cartoon.
eating bowls of cereal and
Yeah,
Lucky
just bowls and
Charms.
bowls of cereal, like getting all sugared up, ready for the day. But yeah, I mean I just remember waking up super early and it was like I felt like an adult back then. Like Mom, I have something to do. I got to watch my
Yeah.
cartoons. Like
Oh yeah, it's serious.
another cartoon that like Nickelodeon had good cartoons. Like the Rugrats was a
Hmm.
great cartoon. Um, I mean, it's just yeah, like you said, some of the shows that we had growing up. I mean, even Goosebumps had a show. Remember
Hmm.
that?
Hmm. Maybe that's what it was. The scary one at night. I think it was
Yeah.
like the thing that
I mean,
that
those
would come
books were
on.
scary. They still are scary. Like I remember the scariest one, right, was the puppet, right? The ventriloquist doll thing. Do you
Hmm.
remember that one? That one was the scariest by far.
That's crazy.
Um, Brandon's got some stuff here. Pokemon.
Yep.
Pokemon was big.
I
The
did put
cards.
I did put Pokemon. I don't remember Cow and Chicken if that was a
I
show
remember
movie,
it. I
but
remember
okay.
that. I do, not sure.
I speaking of Pokemon, I think was a little bit as we were a little bit more older, but I remember the Tamagotchi, and it was funny because I had studied Japanese, and because it
Is that
was
what
some.
this is?
I don't think so. No,
Okay.
I don't think so. I don't know. I had to Google that one, but the Tamagotchi was the little egg keychain, and you had to like keep your egg
Oh,
alive. You had to like keep your like thing alive, and it was and or it would die all the time. You're like, oh my god, I killed my Tamagotchi. But it was funny because I had been studying Japanese in middle school, and we had Japanese exchange students.
yeah.
So there were some things that I was really into. Not Hello Kitty. What was the green guy? The frog guy. Some of like the Japanese toys. I was
Yeah.
into some of that just because. Yeah, what is that? I'm gonna have to look that up now too.
Yeah.
But it's funny.
No, like I'm thinking like everything that you like. It's crazy. I knew this was gonna happen. Like you would say something and it would jog my memory about something.
Yeah.
Because I have a lot of stuff written down. Like we're like you said, we're just scratching the surface here.
I'm trying to remember the
But
thing.
like one of the things that you were just talking about with like the Tamagotchi and stuff like that.
Yep.
One game I remember playing, right, and it was The Sims. Do you remember playing that game?
I did never played Sims. Is that the one where you can build the town?
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
I never
yes,
played that one, but that's funny.
yeah.
Yes.
Um, so what were some of your favorite like movies
Yeah.
from your childhood?
Well, I was gonna say just since you were on to the game, like the computer game versus we like Nintendo games, obviously, and like all that. But I was just gonna say about the games. I had this game. We talked about Where in the World is Carmen San Diego last week, and that was just funny because I love that. And I had this game called Doom. It was
Oh my
a
god, Brain is about to probably just went crazy. He
okay.
probably played Doom. Yeah.
So Doom is hilarious because like I was like such a tomboy. I had Domino Rally and like race cars and I had Doom and I'll tell you what, it was scary as shit. Okay. For like a little child,
Yeah, it
I
was a
would like
scary
blow
game.
up these monsters like heads. Okay. But I was playing, it was, and I looked it up because I was like, when did this come out? So it was 1993.
Yeah.
Doom was it said that it was like a first person, like shooting
Yeah, yeah,
game.
yeah, yeah. Mhm.
And it was kind of like I feel like it was maybe one of the first because there were like Nintendo and Sega and all that like before PlayStation and all those things like so they have obviously all of those Call of Duty and all those things, but this was like a computer game and I just remember like putting that CD into the tower, into
Oh
your
my god,
computer. And I would
CDs.
put that CD in to play it because we had to, put each CD in when we were playing each game.
Yes.
And I just remember being scared shitless, like as it's going in and like opening, because it was just scary. But I was addicted to playing it.
Well, it was the music too, like, because as soon as you put the
Yeah.
CD in, the menu pops up, right? And it's like there's that fire and stuff like that, and you're like, "Oh my god, I'm about to play this game. This is crazy."
I
I mean,
know.
there was that game, but,
Doom. Holy shit.
I mean, I was a big
Yeah.
Nintendo 64
Yep.
person. So I played Golden Eye, Double O Seven was a big game for me. Um, but on PlayStation, I remember when the original PlayStation came out, and
Mhm.
it was gray. It legit looked like just a regular CD player,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
And
I remember.
the game that scared the shit out of me and my friends was Resident Evil.
Oh.
Zombies. That game
Oh no, I did not play that.
we would legit my dad, I remember would we on like a Saturday night, and this is another thing about video games back in the day, right? And I say back in the day like we're like 90 years old, but back in the day, we used to go over to people's houses
I
and play
know.
video games all together, like all in the same room. Like one person would be playing, or two
Yep.
people would be playing, and all the other kids in the room would be like cheering them on, stuff like that. Now
Yep.
it's like you just sit in a room by yourself and play. But
Right.
I remember sitting and watching my dad play the game because we were too scared to play, right? So my dad would play the game, and me and my friends would sit there, and we'd have like the sheet, like, or whatever, the blanket, and like you get to a scary part, and we would like cover ourselves up, and I just remember like that was a really cool child memory. But yeah, that game still scares the crap out of me today.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
could
that's
not
funny.
imagine playing.
I know. I was just gonna say because I can see Brandon had said something about Aladdin, so we had talked too. I had Sega, like Sega Genesis, and then my neighbor had Nintendo, and I had the original Nintendo,
Yeah, same
and
here.
then we got Sega Genesis like a couple years later, or when it was like down the road, and then my friends ended up getting like the Nintendo 64, so we would go to each other's houses. They didn't have Sega, so we would all go to each other's houses,
Yeah.
and I remember the Mortal Kombat on Sega that the neighbor kid, like he was the older, he had all of these codes when you could do like AABB up down and it would give you like the secret, so we would print out, so I was like, so I had them print out, or like not
Yeah.
print out, but obviously like handwrite. We had all the codes that we would pass around. It was so funny. But and then I had Game Boy. But
Oh my god,
so
Game
Game
Boy.
Boy was in the, it was so big and chunky. It's so funny because I wish I had all of these things. Like I got rid of them. But I remember the Game Boy case was just so big and chunky, and that was just hilarious.
No, like I remember Game Boy, right? And you're right. It was like carrying like a brick almost. It
Oh
was
my God.
huge. Nowadays they're like super tiny, right? They're the size of your phone.
Yeah, and
But
then they came out with color ones, and
yeah, oh yeah, the
ours were
color
just like
ones.
green
But
screen.
do you remember? So for those that are watching that might be Gen Zers, right, and maybe didn't play a lot of video games, so there's a progression through video games, right? Now it was CDs for a long time. Now you can just download the actual game to your console. You don't even need the CD anymore.
Hmm.
But in the old days, right, we had the cartridges. So that's what I call them, right? And do you remember when a game wouldn't work properly? You would go and you
And
would blow
clack,
into
clack, clack, clack,
the and you would blow into the machine, and
oh
you'd be
my
like, and then you
God.
finally put it in, it would work, right? The struggle was real. The struggle
Oh
was
my
real back
God.
then.
Actually, like cassettes, yeah, like Discman, Walkman, and all that. But I had this thing, and it was funny. It was probably from the late 80s. It was probably like around 1990, and it was called the Pocket Rocker, and it was a little thing, and it had like 80s colors and like design, and it was a little speaker, and you would put cassette tapes in it, and they were only this big, and they were double
Yeah.
sided. So there's one song on this side and one song on the other.
Yes, you could get them from when they still had F the place you used to work.
Oh, that I got fired. Oh shit. Yeah, I got fired.
What was it
Don't
called?
give
FYE?
discounts. Don't give discounts. Yeah, no. Whatever it was before that, I think that came out when we were a little bit older. But yeah, I love that thing. I would take that little thing around. It had like a little wristlet on it, and
Hmm.
I'd play. It was Huey Lewis and the News and like one other song. And oh my God, that's hilarious. But I had put down Trolls. So speaking of, I just feel like the stuff with Beanie Babies and Barbies and then Trolls, like we were definitely at I don't know if kids do it anymore. I don't know that there's these collections anymore. Like we used to collect, we were obsessed with getting,
I guess
you
that's where
know,
hoarding started,
all
right? We
of the
just
new, yeah, and no wonder. I mean, I got rid of it all. Like I'm saying, I wish I at least kept like one or two of them, but why did we need like 50 Trolls? But they were so cute, and like, oh, the one that came out in the roller skates. But looking back, they're like, the hell, this thing is Trolls.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think that's another thing that you could define the
Hoarders.
millennials by is if we hoarded stuff. We just collected a bunch of
Hoarded,
stuff.
yeah, like collecting little things that we thought were so cute. We needed like, but they got us,
Yeah,
they
they
got
did.
our
The
parents.
marketing, whoever was
They
the
got
marketing
us
genius.
good with that.
I mean, because like you said, I think people still collect stuff now. I mean, obviously people still collect stuff, but it was just random stuff. Like I look back on my Pog journey, right? And it was
Hmm.
literally like a piece of metal and cardboard. And I collected I went
I mean,
crazy over
I
that
had
stuff.
I had the long tubes of them, and then I had
Yeah.
the box of it, the plastic box that you had them all. And I mean, it's like I became obsessed with them. Like we had to, um, yeah, some of the Happy Meal toys, Worth Banks. Yeah, I even looked at Peggy up some, like I said, even some of the Beanie Babies. Um, and even when I was looking at my nanny, we had like just a lot of stuff that was hers, but stuff from the 80s and 90s is called vintage, like the 90s even. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But
What I saw a meme somewhere or something. Somebody said something be like it was a Gen Zer talking to to a millennial and said you grew up in the 1900s. It
yeah,
was
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah, yeah. 1900. Yeah, but I didn't want to forget too is I had my sister and I both had an American Girl doll, and
were those big back then? I
they
don't
were
remember them.
very big,
Okay.
and I had Samantha and she had Molly because they looked most like us. Because at the beginning there was like a blonde, there was like 4 or 5 of them that were like the original, I think, and then they added where you could customize it to make it look like you. But
Oh my god, I didn't know
but the
that.
Samantha one looked just like me, and Molly was reddish hair with blue eyes, just like Amy. So, but getting all the clothes for that, we had to have, all of the outfits, and that was not cheap. The American Girl like brand, and that's still around, pretty
Yeah.
pretty successfully, I think, with that. But yeah, American Girl dolls. That's funny.
Going back to CDs, right? Because I distinctly remember this, right? How easy, right? Picture this now. So, how easy is it for you to go and listen to a song, right? It's pretty easy, right? You can go on
Mhm.
YouTube, you can go anywhere, right? You have Spotify, all this stuff. But back in the day, I remember two things. I remember, what was it, LimeWire and
Yep.
Napster,
Yep.
right? Where it would take you like 4 hours to download one song. But after that, do you remember burning CDs?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And
And
I remember,
copying DVDs even
yes,
illegally.
CDs, yes, yes. We we don't do that anymore because that technology is obsolete at this point. But I remember burning CDs, and I remember the giant CD book that you have in your car, like, and you'd be like, I got to listen to this song, and you would flip through your CD book, right? It was this massive thing, and it was like, talk about, like, people talk about like how we're distracted drivers now with a cell phone. Do you imagine? Remember
No, no,
looking through
because I'm
MapQuest and trying to find the CD that
a
you needed?
MapQuest, your
That's a-
printout. I'm pretty
yeah.
sure that there were many accidents, many accidents while you were leaning down, looking into your CD book. Yeah, and they were insane.
Yeah,
Oh
and
my
then
gosh.
came out the probably saved a lot of people's lives. The multiple CD like holder in your car, like the six
Yeah.
CD changer, right? You could just
Hmm.
change to a new CD.
Oh man, yeah. And then you could like have these external ones that you plugged in
Oh
to,
my god, I forgot about that. Oh my god.
and they were, oh yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
Oh my,
That would just made me think about, because it was like thinking about being in my car, and I remember, you know, um, when the Fast and Furious movies actually were good and came out, that 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 was, I think, a defining. I think single handedly, what, because they're up to like number 9 at this point.
oh, I don't know. Oh my
I
gosh,
don't even
really?
know anymore, but I think this is the last one. But yeah, I think single-handedly the millennial generation kept that kept Fast and Furious saga, or the
Hmm.
different movies alive for this many years.
Oh yeah. I mean, I I think I definitely was into like the first one or two of those because I liked cars. And actually, looking back, it's so funny because I think that we go through different phases of um, what we think is in. Like looking back, I'm like, oh my god, why did I think that that was even cool? Like I was thinking about not necessarily fashion, but I remember at some point in middle school where the girls, we were wearing like these baggy white t-shirts like Tommy Hilfiger or Nautica or
Or the double popped collar.
some, yeah, but like this big
Oh,
baggy shirt. It was so funny. I just remember, and we would tuck the front into
I
our
remember this.
jeans and leave the back out. And we thought we were, yeah, that was cool. I'm like, oh god. And I know that some of the early 20s and teens now that's like the kind of fashion, like the baggy, big
Yeah.
baggy, shirts and sweatshirts. And it's just funny because we did that and like preteen kind of.
So I mean, so along the same lines of fashion, going along the line of fashion, and it just sparked a memory, because I went into this store as a 35-year-old, and found absolutely nothing that I could remotely even picture wearing, but a huge millennial brand. And it is, I believe, in my mind, it is a millennial brand. Uh, and has everything to do with us,
Hmm.
is American Eagle.
Yep.
I feel like growing up, that's pretty much all that most kids, especially like
Yep.
high school, that was a big brand growing up. But
Yep.
with that said, as a little kid growing up in the 90s, I look at little kids now, like, and they're all like well put together, like, where
I
I was like, like, had this crazy
know.
bowl cut,
Awkward.
like awkward, like everybody just looked awkward in the 90s.
Yeah.
like
No, yeah. I
like
mean, that's what I was saying about that, like the shirt and the style. But I also think because that's, we right around our teens is when the American Eagle and Hollister
oh my
and
god, Hollister.
Abercrombie came out. And what I think was the kids that were 5, 10 years younger grew up with those brands. And then I think that things got to be a little bit more about your appearance, or a little bit, the fashion and those brands, and almost like, you had to step it up a notch to keep up with, the other kids. And it's true. I mean, and just the makeup, now they're doing like all the YouTube tutorials, like, and with fashion, and there's so much stuff at the tips of your, what is it, at your fingertips, that I think everything progresses. We're looking at technology progressing. We're looking at, so many other things that they're wanting to be, looking older and all that
Yeah.
too.
No, I mean, it's just amazing. Like I said, I look back and I'm just like, like what, like what was I thinking, or what was my mom thinking? Putting me, no offense, mom, I love you to death, but like I said, it was just different times back then.
Right. Well, we
One thing
weren't
that
posting our pictures and selfies all over social media to
could
impress
you
everybody like they
imagine?
are now. So, and
Could
I mean, it's
could you
funny.
imagine like actually having like the first social media that I remember is, is AOL, like AOL chat rooms, AOL, instant messenger, like MySpace, like those are the things I really remember from the early years of the internet. Like, because
Hmm.
for a lot of people, they think the internet's been around for a long time, especially kids growing up these days, and it's like,
Right.
no, it really hasn't. But I mean, I definitely remember, like, that's how you texted your friends back then, was you got on an AOL chat room.
Yeah, and it's funny because like our parents didn't have anything, I mean, really much of anything with technology, that they I feel like it might have been the generation in between us that saw the start of, some of these advances, but it's light years away from what our parent, it's funny now that the people who are young comparing when we grew up to with them, and then our parents are laughing at us saying, ha ha, what, we didn't have XYZ, um the cell phones didn't exist. My mom had one of the first cell phones,
Mhm.
it's like, 1990, the computer. I saw Brandon had made a comment here that he didn't have a computer until the mid-teens. I was young. I was fortunate. My mom actually worked at a security company, and they did some IT, and she worked on computers, and we had a computer, um, and she had the cell phone because of work. So it was kind of neat that she had those things. But it's different. It's just funny, us looking back, and then I'm sure people, you know, 20 years older, 20 years younger, you know.
Yeah. No, I mean, like I said, there's just so much stuff that technology wise, like you said, it's changed so much. But speaking of technology, like I was thinking about this last night because like we were watching some show, and right, I had to get up and go to the bathroom. And so Megan was like, "Hey, do you want me to stop the show? Like, do you want me to pause it?" Right.
Right.
Back in the day, there was none of that. Right. Like, I
Yep.
remember, like, you had to, like, if a commercial, when the commercial came on, that was like your cue to, like, run and
Yeah.
go use the bathroom really quick, or go get something to eat. And then, like, one person would stay in the room and be like, "It's back on." Right. And you have to like sprint back
Hmm.
into the room so you didn't miss your show. Like, that was a real concern back in the day. Like, you could miss that TV show, right?
Hmm.
Like, and have to wait, and I mean, I don't even know when, right? Because there's no way to rewatch it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny because on Netflix, the Marvelous Mrs. Basil, I don't know if you guys are watching that,
Mm,
but it's set in the 50s, I think. But just the last one that I watched, because they're only putting out like two, like a week or something. So the one that I was watching was them watching TV, and she had to get up to get the phone, or somebody was at the door, I forget, and he's like, no, 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 it's so funny, gosh, there has to be a way for you to stop it so that you can, take a break and go do something, and we're gonna miss it. Or she was gonna miss it, and he didn't, he was gonna sit there and watch. It was so funny. And I was like, oh my God, look at that. Like, he was like, isn't there a way? Wouldn't it be a great way that you could pause it? And I don't even think we did we have the ability to do like DVR, like
No, I think
I don't
what
think
you
we
would
could
do,
pause.
we couldn't pause or anything like that. But what we could do is we had the VHS player, right? And there was a way that you could hook it up and put a blank
Oh
VHS
yeah, so
tape in there and record the show illegally, but you could record the show onto a VHS tape.
oh,
Um,
okay. But we couldn't, as children, we didn't have that either, that we could pause.
no, that wasn't until like later. That wasn't until later. I mean, I don't know when that technology came out, but
Yeah.
it's the ability to pause, skip over stuff. Like there was no choice but to watch the commercials. Like
Right.
that was it. That's all you had was that. So
Right. Yeah, that's funny. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, other than, I'm trying to think what you said about the movies. I I obviously like younger movie, like Disney movies. So I just think that um, that Disney movies were really big for us, like my family and my sister and I. We just watched so many different Disney movies. And then I don't know. Now I'm trying to think. I'm kind of drawing a blank on on even the movies that I watched. I feel like we just watched a lot more TV than movies, but I don't know. Maybe.
yeah, we'll get Megan actually just walked in
Yeah.
and she was we were talking a lot about this stuff of just what we remember and whatnot. But
Mhm.
um one of the things I know that she really liked too was like going back to VHS, like, and all the like Disney movies, like the Aladdins, the
Right.
Lion Kings, like
Yep.
all types of movies that kids are still watching to this day.
Yep. Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, my brother, there were things like classic that they'll always watch,
Mhm.
But I do remember the Babysitters Club. I watched that. That was cool. And then there was this game I forgot, talking about like games. There was this game called um, oh shoot, it was called something talk or gossip or shoot. Now I remember, I can't remember. I had to look it up. It was like this phone game, and you could dial it in, and it would have these recordings, and it'd be some of like the guys. What was that thing called? Shoot, I'm gonna have to look it up. Um,
I
but I just remember it was called, let me see, like 90s game talk phone thing. It was called Dream Phone. Maybe that's what it was.
Oh,
Yeah, Dream Phone. Okay, Milton Bradley
Dream
was
Phone.
1991 Dream Phone, and you could call in. Um,
They had like a
and
little thing that you would put in and it
Oh
would
my
have
God,
somebody's voice.
figure out which of your 24 studs has a crush on you by calling up each and every dude for a clue. Like, oh my
Yes.
God.
Yeah, I remember I never played it, but I remember there was something that you put into the phone
I
and
don't
then
think
it
it's
would like
talking easy.
call and then it would be like you would get a clue.
Oh my
I
God,
definitely
no.
remember that.
I mean, and I was only gonna say, I really only have two more that we can wrap up. But I just remember the Betty and Veronica and the Archie comics. I don't know if you ever got into them, but every time we went to the supermarket, I was dying for my mom to buy me the new Archie, and that little comic, that little book. I just was obsessed with them for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I necessarily remember those, but I remember a lot of people
Hmm.
into them, like, per se. But I know there's so much more that we could talk about. I mean, it's like it was like drinking through a fire hose, like trying to like figure out what I was going to talk about today because there was like no like. So
Yeah.
I think it would be really interesting if we like one of our shows and maybe we can bring on a couple people and we could talk about like certain aspects like music. We could talk about video games. We could talk about pop culture, like all the things
Yeah.
that and really focus those shows because
Yep.
like I said, there's so much that we've covered, but there's so much that we haven't
Oh,
even come close.
absolutely. Even just the things that we like looked forward to, like the whole pizza, like the experiences that we used to do.
Hmm. Yeah.
I just think it's funny.
Yeah. So, anyways, guys, we hopefully you enjoyed today. But when we end the show, we have two things that we like to do, especially if you're a first time watcher. The first thing that we like to do is the millennial meme of the week.
That sounds so great. We really do. I am gonna just pull that from the clip right before I post this on YouTube, and we do Podbean, Spotify,
Yeah.
Apple, and Amazon podcasts.
Yes. So
And
check us out.
I am going to pull that clip, and we're gonna just use it now.
Here's a show that we forgot to mention, or it was a movie and a show, cartoon, toys, all that stuff, right? But it is a meme. But it's 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 a rat pulling a piece of pizza. Looks like it's in the subway, and it says, "You see a rat, but I see a hardworking dad trying to feed his 4 teenage turtles."
Splinter,
Yes.
Splinter with his.
So Ninja Turtles was a big, I remember, for me it was a big, all the movies, the original movie was amazing. But all the stuff, right? I definitely
Absolutely.
went as Leonardo for Halloween. So yeah, good times, right?
Absolutely. And when you said that, actually, I can't really see the meme that much because it's small, on the back end. But when you said something about a show and then like these things, and I see this little like orange speck, I was thinking it might have been Garfield because I remember Garfield. And I saw this, I was like, what is that? But it's a slice of pizza. But Garfield was a good one too.
Oh
But yeah,
man.
the
Well,
millennial
anyways,
meme.
guys, we have one last thing that we like to do before the end of the end of the day or the end of the show. Is we give Mel an opportunity to just share a little bit more information with us, and it's a Mel's moment.
Mel's moment.
Yeah, we just need to pull your stuff and play that when we pop this thing
I
up.
have
But
to
yes,
clear my
it
throat a
is
little bit.
a moment where Mel gets to share with us something, right? We don't know what it is until it comes out of her mouth, and she lets us, she entertains us, she informs us. Who knows, right?
Who
It's Mel's
knows?
moment, so we can't take it away from her. It's hers. Mel, go ahead, take your moment.
Yeah, I mean, I think we just had so much fun looking back at the things that we did as children, and that really just brought us joy. And they were very simple things. Yes, I mean, things cost money, but I think that we got a lot of pleasure and joy out of a lot of the things that we did as children, and just makes us smile. And I think that, looking back, I think maybe everybody, this weekend reminisce about your childhood and the things that you did or maybe collected, and save. Yeah, I would say hang on to some things. Don't get rid of them, because just think if I'm wishing I had saved stuff now at late 30s. Like, just think of when we're older, that how much even more we'll look back at the things. So yeah, no, don't hoard, but maybe just keep a couple things. Yeah, I think it'd be cool to pass them down to your kids even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome, guys. Well, we hope that you enjoyed today's show just as much as we've enjoyed it. Hopefully it brought some nostalgia back to you. Maybe you're gonna find your local Pizza Hut and sit down and have a nice family meal tonight.
Yeah.
But like I said, we appreciate everybody that jumped on, commented, hung out with us for a little bit. Guys, we hope that you check us out every Friday at 2:00. Last week we had a great guest, Nell,
Mhm.
talking about her business. And so make sure you check us out every week, because you just never know what you might hear. You might get informed, you might be entertained. Who knows, right?
Might be yelling.
Yeah, we might be yelling at you, if you're a Gen Zer or if you're a boomer. But anyways, guys, we appreciate it. Hopefully you have a great weekend.
Mhm.
Go outside, enjoy this weather.
Yes, don't drink and drive.
Don't drink and drive. Call an Uber, right? But anyways, guys, enjoy your weekend. We'll see you next Friday. Have a good one.